Folks, this is going to be a quick video on making a fence and attaching it to your Shopsmith fence. This assumes that you have the Model 520. And as you look at this video, you'll notice that I'm doing this without using any measuring tools at all. Sometimes you'll find that measuring tools will just slow you down and get in your way. So I'm going to show you a couple of techniques here. I think you will really enjoy making your own jigs and fixtures and fences once you see how easy this can be. I'm going to start off here with a horizontal boring and a 5/8 inch Forstner bit, or maybe 3/4. What I'm starting off with is just a piece of melamine cut a little bit larger than a fence, and of course you can make this any size that you want. This is just an old cabinet door that I have. My only criteria really for this fence is that it's a little bit taller than the Shopsmith rip fence and a little bit longer. I will grab a Forstner bit that's slightly larger than the head of the bolt I want to use to attach my fence. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 5/8 is fine. If you just grab a 3/4, that'll work too. You do need to make sure you're using a Forstner bit here. What I'm doing here is just eyeballing the bit to the groove on the fence, the T-slot, and I want to have it approximately centered. Now if you want to be exact with this, I believe the measurement is 1 7/8 inches from the tabletop to the center of that, but as you'll see here in just a moment, you really don't have to be exact with this. I don't want to drill all the way through, so all I'm going to do is just drill until I'm just going to drill until the shoulder of the drill bit just disappears right there, but I don't want to go all the way through. You'll see why here in just a moment. That's my first hole. Let's do the second one. And again, you notice the spacing between these two holes is not real critical. As long as it falls within the length of the fence, we'll be fine. You'll find that this fence is kind of a blueprint for doing a lot of other fences and jigs for your Shopsmith. So once you learn how to do this, you'll be able to make all kinds of nice things that will help you out in your woodworking. Alright, I'm going to replace the Forstner bit with a brad point drill bit. And again, I'm not really measuring here. All I want to know is that the drill bit is a little bit larger than 1/4 inch because I'm using 1/4 inch bolts. I could go with exactly with 1/4. A little bit larger. Notice there, folks, when I tighten a drill bit into the chuck, I always tighten all 3 holes. That'll make sure that everything's good and snug and centered the way that it should be. Alright, now this is just going to be a backup piece. It's a piece of scrap wood, and I want to make sure that the drill bit will go into that scrap piece but not go all the way through and hit the fence. So I'll set a stop using my depth stop out in front. I set that to a 0. Use that as my backup, and now I'm going to drill completely through. Because I have used the Forstner bit, the brad point bit will automatically center into the hole. So again, no measuring, just pop it through, do the second one, and you're good to go. And we are now halfway through building this jig. Okay folks, here's the real secret to using these jigs and fences. They're called sliding T-nuts. They are available from Shopsmith. I wish I did a better job of telling you about it because these things are just wonderful. You ought to have, I don't know, 6, 8, 10. I probably have at least a dozen around, and you'll find many, many uses for these. They are threaded with a 1/4 20, and it allows you to attach your jig, your fixture, to the side of the fence, to the top of the fence, to any of your tables that have the T-tracks in it. And as I said, you'll find many uses for it. Here's how it attaches. Once you've got the bolt in place, it just slides in, and tighten it down with whatever type of screw you're using. I'm using an Allen screw on this, Allen head, so it works great. You can see how that slides in and out very easily. Now I've attached the fence solidly, the sacrificial fence solidly to the Shopsmith rip fence. And I've got that tightened down. You can see where the recessed holes, why we did the Forstner bit, so those don't stick out. Now I'm going to raise the table up and bring the fence over so it just covers about half of that dado. And the only important thing here, guys, is make sure that your dado, when you lower this table down, the dado does not hit your metal Shopsmith fence. We only want to be cutting into the melamine part of this. And the purpose of this fence is primarily for doing rabbits, as you'll see here in just a minute. Okay, once I've got that attached and slid over, I got my fence locked down. I'm going to raise the table, excuse me, I'm going to lower the table now, and I want to make sure I control that with both hands. Just lower it slowly until it cuts out that arc right there. Raise it back up, turn the machine off, and then lock the table down. I'm going to take that just a touch deeper there. But that gives you that little sacrificial fence that you'll find so useful. And here in just a moment we're going to go ahead and cut a rabbet on the edge of this piece of plywood as a test. Alright, let's set this, I'm just kind of winging this, but you'd want to measure the actual depth of your rabbet and of course the distance that the dado sticks out from the fence, because that's going to determine what size your rabbet is. I always want to use a push pad when I'm doing any kind of dado or rabbet work, and I'm going to use a push stick on the back side of it. I remind people of this all the time, folks, but you're going to work much better if you get in the habit of standing up close to the machine. If you could see me here, what you'd find is my belly is actually hitting against the fence, or excuse me, against the table, and my leg is up against the accessory shelf down below, so I'm in physical contact with that machine. I've seen too many people want to stand a foot or two back and try to lean over, and you can get out of balance with that. So get yourself anchored to the Shopsmith. But isn't that a nice, easy way to build a fence and make a rabbet out of that? And folks, as I said, I'll show you some other uses of fences and jigs as we go through this in another video. Also, in the manuals you got with your Shopsmith, there's a number of nice fences and jigs you can look at. And folks, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. That way you'll get noticed when I post a new video. I'm Doug Reid. Thanks for watching.